Good evening. It is Wednesday night, September 22nd. It's time for the Iman Report NFL Week 3 picks. We'll see which teams are going to go to 3-0 or 0-3 at this point. We will start off with the Miami Dolphins tomorrow night going to Jacksonville. Miami looking for their first win of the year going up against the 1-1 Jacksonville Jaguars. Jacksonville has been a bit of a surprise this year. Gardner Minshew actually looks like a decent quarterback this year. Miami, yeah, they are 0-2, but they've actually been held tough in the two games they've lost. I think the defense should give Gardner Minshew some problems in this game. But unfortunately, you do have Ryan Fitzpatrick as your starting quarterback. So that could mean 3 touchdowns or 3 interceptions. Who knows which Fitzpatrick is going to show up in this game? But I do think this Miami team plays over its head at times. And you know what? The spread says Jacksonville. I'm going to say Miami pulls off the upset over Jacksonville, gets to 1-2. The defense holds strong. Give me the Dolphins in this one, 31-27. Next up, the Houston Texans against the Pittsburgh Steelers. The Texans trying to avoid an 0-2 start. The Steelers starting to an 0-3 start. The Steelers at 2-0. The Steelers are favored by 4 points in this game. The Steeler defense has been good. The Texans defense has been atrocious. But I do think Deshaun Watson is going to be motivated to try to get this team a win. For Houston, they have started the schedule off against some very tough contenders. First week, Kansas City. Second week, Baltimore. Now they get Pittsburgh. Not much of a step down in competition. I think Pittsburgh, Connor is going to be able to run the football like Swiss cheese over that Swiss cheese defense of the Texans defense. If the game were in Houston, I might be inclined to go with Houston. But I think going to Pittsburgh is going to prove too much for the Texans. They fall to 0-3, and Bills O'Brien's seat's going to get rather toasty in Houston. So I am going to go Pittsburgh 27-24. In a mismatch in Minnesota, the Tennessee Titans head to Minneapolis to play the Minnesota Vikings. Minnesota's defense has been atrocious in these two games at 0-2. They have, I think, allowed over 30 points in both of their games. Tennessee, not surprisingly, a 2.5-point favorites in this game. Ryan Tannehill has started the season hot. Derrick Henry, not so. But I think this will change in week 3. I think this will be the week Derrick Henry runs the football and gets it going for the Tennessee Titans. The Titans defense should be able to shut down Dalvin Cook. They should be able to bully Kirk Cousins. Man, are they starting to miss Stephon Diggs. 0-3 is not going to be fun in Minnesota. This loss could put Mike Zimmer and Rick Spielman on the hot seat in Minnesota should they lose to the Titans, and I think they will. Ryan Tannehill should have no problem throwing the football all day. And Derrick Henry gets back on track. This is going to be a romp of a game. 31-3 Titans. Next up, another mismatch. The 2-0 Chicago Bears going to the 0-2 Atlanta Falcons. The 0-2 Falcons are the 3-point favorites. The good news for the Falcons, the Bears' offense is not nearly as good as Seattle's. It's not nearly as good as Dallas's. So that's good. The bad part is the defense is still bad in Atlanta. Good part is you don't know what you're going to get from Mitch Trubisky. Trubisky could be good in spurts. Maybe he's good for 1 quarter, bad for 3 quarters. 2. Who knows what you're going to get from Trubisky? Chicago defense is good. We don't know if they're a top-ranked defense just yet. But I think getting back to ATL might inspire Matty Ice. This might be we shall see if Todd Gurley can get going running the football. But as I say, if I think this is the week Atlanta gets a win. Chicago's defense is great, but we don't know how great they are. I have concerns about Mitch Trubisky. If Mitch Trubisky can run, maybe Chicago can win. But I am not sold on Trubisky. I think this is the week Atlanta gets off the schneid despite their awful defense. Wins one at home. Atlanta to win. Atlanta to cover. It will be somewhere around, I'm going to go 35-24. Atlanta. And what should be one of the games of the week right here. The Las Vegas Raiders go to New England go to Foxborough to take on the New England Patriots. The Patriots are a 5.5-point favorites in this game. This is going to be a good test for the resurgent Derek Carr. The Raiders 2-0. Carr has been good in his first 2 games, starting off the year for the Las Vegas Raiders. Carr won a shootout against Drew Brees last week. Carr is playing with confidence. You've got Josh Jacobs. Josh Jacobs can run the football. But their limits are on defense. The Raiders can't tackle. The defense is not good in Las Vegas. So that's not good. The bad part is also now Derek Carr actually has to face a good defense in the New England Patriots in Foxborough. And Cam Newton has found a resurgence in New England. Josh McDaniels has adapted the system to Cam Newton's skill set. And of course, the Patriots' defense is always top-notch. If this were Las Vegas, I might give the Raiders a chance to win. But I don't think they're going to get blown out in Foxborough either. I think this Raiders team is a wild card team. I do think they are going to be in the playoff hunt this year. They'll be vying this year for one of those 3 wild card seeds. But at the end of the day, the Patriots come up victorious. They will win and cover 27-20 Patriots. Next, at MetLife Stadium, where hopefully they will replace and put in a new turf this week. Yes, it's deja vu for the San Francisco 49ers. Just the only difference is it's the New York Giants now. San Francisco has a long list of injuries. The New York Giants, they're without Saquon for the year. Now they bring in Devontae Freeman. Danny Dimes, he's not the greatest quarterback. But if there's one thing the 49ers have, that the New York Giants lack. That's depth. I think it's looking like it's going to be Nick Mullins starting this week. The 49ers are 4.5 point favorites. I do think the 49ers will win, but it will not be a high-scoring game since you do not have Coleman, nor do you have Mostert. So it's going to be Jet McKinnon and Jeff Wilson Jr. this week handling the running duties. But Nick Mullins can throw the ball when needed. All Mullins needs to do is be a game manager this week. I think the 49ers still have the depth on defense and offense to get it done. Probably won't be a high-scoring affair, but it will be a close game. The 49ers win 14-10 over the New York Giants. In a must-win game in Philly, the Philadelphia Eagles take on the Cincinnati Bengals. Joe Burrow is the future in Cincinnati. Joe Burrow can fire up this offense. Cincinnati does not have a defense yet. This is the week where this is must-win for Philly. Carson Wentz has been awful in his first two starts of the season. Carson Wentz, there's a good chance you're going to see Jalen Hurts play in some formations. To get back on track, Carson Wentz needs to find a way to get the ball to Zach Ertz. Ertz is the guy that needs to get fed. The Eagles win a lot more games when Zach Ertz is a happy guy. Feed the Ertz. The defense has been awful. They've allowed 30-plus points in the first two games of the year. Jim Schwartz could be coaching for his job in this game. If Philly fails to win this game, they could easily start the year 1-6, 0-7. It could get ugly really quick. The season could go off the rails if they do not beat the Bengals. If Cincinnati beats Philadelphia, it is a feel-good win. But we will find out, is Wentz finished or not in this one? I say no. I think the injuries are catching up to Wentz, but I still think they've got enough to beat the Bengals. Excuse me. They will win. The Eagles are favored by 5 points. They will win. I'm not confident they're going to cover. It'll be something like 35-30. Eagles win a shootout. In Cleveland, the Washington football team takes on the Cleveland Browns. Washington 1-1. Washington has had a good defense with Chase Young this year. Haskins has not been good on offense. Cleveland, they are good on offense. They are bad on defense. This one could be low scoring. Cleveland are the 7-point favorites in this game. I think this game is going to might be closer than that. I think the Washington defense will be able to shut down Baker Mayfield running the football, forcing if Baker Mayfield is forced to throw the football, bad things might happen. If Chubb doesn't get running, bad things might happen. If Myles Garrett, but I think Cleveland will win, but it's going to be a close one. I'm taking Cleveland to win, but I am not confident they will cover. Cleveland somewhere around 20-17. The Browns get it done. Browns go to 2-1. In one of the more underrated games of the week here, the Los Angeles Rams travel to Buffalo to take on the Buffalo Bills. Buffalo 2-0. Their 2-0 is against weaker opponents. LA has a big win over the Dallas Cowboys in the opener, and then they make a statement win against the Philadelphia Eagles. Jared Goff, looking like the quarterback he was in 2018. He looks like the Goff that took him to the Super Bowl. The Rams defense looks like the defense that was in the Super Bowl 2 years ago. The Rams are back. Donald and Ramsey are back. The Bills defense is no slouch either. After a letdown in Miami, I think they're going to be a bit motivated. This could be a low-scoring game in Buffalo. Josh Allen has finally found Stephon Diggs. If Allen gets it going, good things will happen. But I think this is going to be a defensive dogfight all game. Low-scoring game. Buffalo pulls it off. Buffalo, the 2-point favorites. Buffalo to win. 17-14 Bills. In Indianapolis, the Indianapolis Colts take on the terrible, horrible, no good, very bad New York Jets. Indianapolis, the 10.5-point favorites over the New York Jets. New York Jets getting demoralized by the 49ers last week, despite all the injuries. And also the Jets are walking wounded too. Phillip Rivers coming off a win. I think that this is not going to be close. I think Indianapolis is going to have it's going to be all Indy all the time. 41-3. This is not even going to be close. Carolina heading to LA to SoFi to take on the Los Angeles Chargers. Carolina, they've been competitive at 0-2. Now they got to figure out life without Christian McCaffrey. Teddy Bridgewater has not been a bad quarterback in the first 2 weeks. But now they got to play a stout Chargers defense. The LA Chargers, they say they're committed to Tyrod Taylor. But the good news is this week, Justin Herbert starting. If Tyrod was starting, I would actually pick the Panthers to upset. No, not with Herbert starting. I think Herbert's going to motivate this team. Herbert's going to send a message with a 20, 30-point score. I think it's going to be a nice day for the Los Angeles Chargers. Chargers, the 6.5-point favorites. I am going to pick the Chargers to win. Chargers to cover. This will be Justin Herbert's come-out party. 27-3, Los Angeles Chargers. In Arizona, another 0-2 team going against a 2-0 team. The Arizona Cardinals going up against the Detroit Lions. Matt Patricia, in the next 2 weeks, is coaching for his job. So is Bob Quinn. Honestly, if Detroit loses this game, if Detroit goes into the bye week 0-4, it might be time to make Matthew Stafford available for a trade. It will be time for Detroit to tear this team down to the bolts. The defense for Detroit is just atrocious. The offense is okay. Arizona, I think this is going to be the game where we see Kenyon Drake get going. Detroit is bad at stopping the run. Kenyon Drake is going to break out in this game. Kyler Murray's going to have all day to run the football. I think this is going to be I think we see the Arizona Cardinals go to 3-0. And yeah, the Cardinals are for real. The Lions will fall to 0-3 with one game left before Judgment Day for Matt Patricia. And I think it's going to be adios in 2 weeks for Matt Patricia. In America's Game of the Week, the Dallas Cowboys take on the Seattle Seahawks. Seattle's defense is looking better this year. Russell Wilson having an MVP year. DK Metcalf having a great year thus far. Seattle's firing on all cylinders. I think Dallas, they really should be 0-2 by now. They were lucky to get past what was an atrocious Atlanta team. I think it's going to be a long day for Dallas. I do. Seattle coming in as the 5-point favorites. I think for Dallas, they're just lucky that they're not going to have to face here the 12th man in Seattle, but it's still going to be a bad game. I think that second half last week was a fluke. I think, honestly, Dak's an average quarterback. I think we're starting to see a regression out of Ezekiel Elliott. The Dallas defense was just horrid. It has been horrid in the first 2 weeks. Seattle looks like a possible Super Bowl contender this year. Dallas, I wouldn't be totally shocked if Dallas gets blown out in Seattle this week. Seattle's a much better coached team. Russell Wilson's playing like an MVP right now. I am going to say Seattle wins, covers. I am thinking somewhere in the lines of 37-20. Give me Seattle in this game. And we go to Mile High as the Tampa Bay Buccaneers take on the Denver Broncos at Mile High Stadium. The Buccaneers, the 6-point favorites. Tom Brady hasn't exactly looked that great in his first 2 games in a Bucs uniform. But the Buccaneers were able to start running the football last week. That's the good part. The other good part is Denver is banged up. Drew Lock's out, so they are. I don't know if they're going with Jeff Haskell or if they're going to go with Blake Bortles. Unless Melvin Gordon gets it going, it might be a long day for the Broncos. But I do think the Broncos might have a good enough defense that will at least keep it close. I think they might be able to shut down Tom Brady with the defense. But I just don't think you can win with Jeff Driscoll or Blake Bortles. I don't. It'll be a low-scoring game. I'm going to maybe say 17-10 Buccaneers. It's not. And on Sunday Night Football, you've got the Aaron Rodgers experience going up against a regressing Drew Brees. Rodgers is playing like an MVP right now. He's finding other targets besides Devontae Adams. Excuse me. It has been great. They have a great offense. Defense has some questions. Saints defense did not look impressive last week. Drew Brees is continuing to regress at quarterback. I think we are starting to see the end of the Drew Brees era in New Orleans. What I think is going to help also going to help out the Packers is there's not going to be fans at the Dome. So it's not going to be nearly as noisy playing at the Dome this time around. But I don't think you... The only way the Saints can win this game is if they get Alvin Kamara the football. Other than that, I'm taking Green. The favorites are the 3.5 point favorites, New Orleans Saints. I think in an upset this week, the Green Bay Packers come in victorious. This one may not. This one will be somewhere along 35-21 Packers. And on Monday Night Football, the Clash of the Titans. This should be an exciting game in Baltimore. The Kansas City Chiefs take on the Baltimore Ravens in what could be a preview of this year's AFC Championship game. The Chargers, they exposed some holes in Patrick Mahomes last week. The Chargers were able to shut down Mahomes for the most part. I think the Ravens' defense is better this year. I think they're going to find a way to scheme against... Defenses are now starting to scheme against Patrick Mahomes. And you know what? The other good news for the Ravens, Lamar Jackson's actually improved this year. Lamar Jackson can actually throw the football this year. So now it's even a lot more difficult to scheme for Lamar Jackson. Kansas City's defense has holes. Baltimore's defense is better. The game's in Baltimore. If this were Kansas City, I might pick the Chiefs. But I kind of think this is going to be a game where the Ravens are going to want to go out and send a message to the Kansas City Chiefs. I'm taking the Ravens to win and to cover. Ravens 27-10 sends a message to the Chiefs on Monday Night Football. Everybody stay awesome. I'll be back Saturday night after UFC 253 Adesanya versus Costa for the post-fight show. Thanks for tuning into the Iman Report. Good night.